everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This video is one of a couple in a series that I'm doing around signs that your project is failing. I already did a video around how time is impacting whether or not your project is successful, and today's video is going to be how budget is affecting your project. Because in case you didn't know it, if your project is over budget, that actually means your project is failing. If you're constantly spending more on your project than you've estimated, then that indicates that your project or your plan is failing. So make sure that you always know what you're spending on what parts of your project in order to make sure that your project is successful. So let's talk around what you can do today to actually adjust whether your project is on budget or not, and how to figure out how budget contributes to your project being successful or not. The first thing I want to talk about is, what are the signs of your project being over budget? Well, one thing might be that deliverables are costing more than you expected. That could either mean maybe there was a lack of research when you made your project plan. So, maybe you didn't go and find out how much certain deliverables would cost, and so you underestimated how expensive it was going to be. Or it could also mean that maybe you're not tracking how much you're spending, and you end up spending a lot more because you're not tracking how much you're spending. So it could be either of those two things. Another sign that your project is failing because of budget is maybe you're always looking for more funding. So essentially, you had a plan around how expensive it was going to be, but all of a sudden you run out of money and then you have to go find more of it. And that's actually a sign that your forecasting skills aren't particularly good. So both of these are signs that your project is failing, and we'll talk about what you can do instead to make your project succeed. The first thing is going to be really obvious. It's going to be conduct a money audit. Similar to what I suggested in the video around how to conduct a time audit, you're going to be writing down in detail where are you spending your money and how much are you spending on what. That'll give you a really good overview of, your expenses, actually how expensive the project really is, and it's really important to be honest here and to be sure that you write down everything that you're spending money on. Only if you do that are you going to be able to find some spots where you could try to save a little bit money, or maybe some spots where you actually don't need to be spending the money. Maybe there's another way. So as you do this exercise, think through whether the budget for your milestones and deadlines is actually reasonable. You have to think through what can you reasonably accomplish within the budget that's provided to you, within the time frame that you're going for, and within the quality that you're looking for. Those all interact: time, quality, and budget. What can you cut out of the things that might still get you a good result? Maybe you don't need to be spending all this money on these things, or maybe you can even delegate it to someone else who might be charging a lot less than what you're currently paying, or who, if you're doing the task, maybe someone else would charge less for that task, and you could go spend your time, which is probably a little more valuable in that case. You could do something else in that time. So think about what you can eliminate and what you can delegate to others to see if that can help you save some cost on your project. And that obviously all needs to be reasonable. If you're working on your project with someone else, if you have stakeholders, those are people that are either affected by the project or are buying it from you or are working with you on it, you need to figure out together with them what can you reasonably deliver within that budget or within that time frame or within the quality that they want. That's not something that you should be deciding on your own. You should be negotiating this with everybody who's involved in this project. Because only if you talk to the other people that are involved in this project are you going to find out what do they actually care about. Do they care about how much you're spending? Do they care about how fast it gets delivered? Because often it's the case that if something gets delivered very fast, it's a little more expensive in those cases. And if it doesn't need to be delivered this fast, then it can be a little bit cheaper sometimes. So you absolutely want to make sure that you know how much you're supposed to be spending and what the highest constraint is on your project. Is it time? Is it budget? Or is it quality? And with respect to quality, for example, if the quality is higher, it's probably going to be a little more expensive than if the quality is lower, then it's going to be cheaper. So you have to have clarity around these three components in order to be able to predict your budget for a project. So in summary, think through what can you reasonably deliver with this budget and negotiate the time or the quality that go along with that. And I've already mentioned it, So I'll repeat it again. Set up tracking if you haven't done it. You really want to know what you're spending on each part of your project, and that includes your salary or anyone that's working with you, their salary, for example, or that you're paying to help you with a project. That all needs to be tracked, not just expenses in terms of products that you're using. Set that up and figure out how much your project is actually spending. And the final point, I've said it a couple of times already, is be realistic with yourself. What can you reasonably deliver within this budget? If you're not realistic, then your plan's not going to make sense, and then you're going to run into the same issues over and over again, where then you're going to need to either look for more funding, or you're going to be delivering something that's way more costly than you thought it was going to be. So, hoping you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you did and what you did to get your project back on track with respect to tracking your budget. And if you still need help with your project, don't forget to ask your boss for help. Do you have a good relationship with your boss? If you don't, check out the link in the description again, where I've created my free guide on my website. You can download it today, and it'll help you today to better your relationship with your boss so that you can rely on them more for support with your projects. They can help get you unstuck when your project is not working out the way you thought it would. So absolutely check that out if you don't have a great relationship with your boss yet. Or even if you do, maybe it can help you get an even better relationship with your boss. So again, download my free guide, and I'm hoping that this video was helpful for you, and I'll see you in the comments below.